I want to spend this brief period to bring some sort of ideological clarity to the struggles that are facing us. I will do so on three planks. Plank number one, war has already been declared against the rest of Nigeria by the Fulanese. Plank number two, do not, I repeat, do not count on any Western nation and their allies, including United States, Britain, France, Germany, as an ally in this struggle. Point number three, the emergent Republic of Southern Nigeria, not Biafra, not Lower Niger Congress, not Oduduwa Republic, not Middle Belt Nationalist Movement, not Niger Delta Independence Movement, or any of these sub-ethnic movements will successfully prosecute this battle in view of plank number two. So I'll make this presentation on three separate recordings. Please indulge me. Now, point number one, war has already been declared. Back in 1966, the moment Gowon went on air and made the declaration that there was no basis for the unity of Nigeria, he had, at that particular moment, constructively seceded from Nigeria. They went about carefully and methodically and ruthlessly prosecuting the war. In other words, they began a war against the eastern region, particularly the Igbos, long before there was formal declaration of war, which is exactly what's going on today. So they were maiming and slashing and burning and looting and killing and destroying and dehumanizing Igbos. There were waves and waves of pogrom and carnage and dastardly waste of lives. We kept reacting just like we're doing today. They kept backing us to the wall, and when we ran out of real estate, then we declared for the Republic of Biafra. And then they said, okay, conflicts are now joined. Let's crush the rebels in a police action. They saw what they were looking for, and they formally came after us with everything they got. The rest is now history. Guys, bearing history in mind, we will accept the declaration of war by the Fulani nationalist movement and do what we need to do to thwart their aggression and defend our sovereignty. There is no point in continuing to react and waiting for a flag off moment. Don't expect a flag off moment and don't dare to flag off anything. Back in 1966, they rewrote the history of the conflict. To them, war became inevitable when the Igbos declared for Biafra. But that's not what happened. That was a complete distortion. They had declared war and made the declaration of Biafra inevitable. So they rewrote the entire history, and till today, they're calling us rebels, unpatriotic Nigerians, whatever, after rewriting the history. That's not what happened. This time around, don't let anyone rewrite the history. The Fulanese have declared war against the rest of Nigeria. Bonkwem. Full stop. That is the narrative. Plank number two coming up. Ideological plank number two. Please, don't count on any Western nation as an ally in this struggle. You have to understand, if you don't already understand it. that the continued exploitation of African countries, all African countries bar none, is in the economic interest of the Western world. So no Western nation is going to stand idly by and watch the emergence of an educated, ideologically independent, economically viable African country just emerge. The breakup of Nigeria is a nightmare to the Western nation because it may be a prelude to breakup of other countries that would neatly upend the neo-colonist order that has seen them continue to exploit us. So please don't count on the United Nations run by the Western world, Britain, France, Nigeria America as our allies in the struggle. We can talk to them, but we have to keep an eye on them, knowing that our interests and theirs are mutually exclusive. They are committed to continued exploitation of us, and they would rather have the Mumu's continue to rule us as their proxies than have us become an independent African nation. Back in 1966, we made a strategic mistake. We thought that France was going to be our ally, but we forgot the Berlin Conference. There is a non-interference pact. If France had participated actively in disrupting British colonial dividend in Nigeria, Britain would have responded likewise in disrupting their francophone dividends. So there is a gentleman agreement of non-interference. So France was not an ally. Instead, they collected intelligence from Biafra and passed it on to Britain. At the end of the day, Britain fought us behind the backs of the Fulanis, suppressed us, brought us back into the fold, and have continued to enjoy the dividend till today. Till today, you and I don't even know how much oil is extracted out of Niger Delta. Whatever it pleases them to give us, we meekly accept. So there is a lot at stake in this war. So I don't want you people, particularly people in diaspora, running around thinking that you found new allies. We have to fight this war on our terms and win it on our terms and not count on these people as our allies. The only way they will align with us is that they see a clear path to continued exploitation of African countries. But with the intelligent people we have, with the way we think, with the history they have with us, don't count on the Western world being an ally in this struggle. So be careful, particularly those in diaspora, what you say and whom you say that to. Okay, I will touch on plank number 3 now. Plank number 3. The Fulanis are proxies to or for the Western world, in addition to Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Believe it or not, Saudi Arabia has very strong economic interest in Islamizing the entire Nigeria. The more Muslims there are in Nigeria, the more Hajj tourists they have in Saudi Arabia. So they have direct economic interest in what's going on in Nigeria. They're committed. They have laid out plans to Islamize the entire country. So be careful. Don't underrate our opponents. They're going to have all the logistical support they need. They're going to import warriors from all over North Africa and West Africa, from Guinea to Chad to Sudan to Mauritania to Libya to Mali. They're all coming, armed and dangerous and ready to execute to the end. So knowing what we are up against, my brothers, let's not make the mistake of breaking up southern Nigeria into sub-ethnic nationalities for the purpose of this war. It's not going to be Biafra versus Fulani. It's not going to be Oduduwa versus Fulani. It's going to be the Republic of Southern Nigeria versus the Fulani. We have to make our victory inevitable. We have to let them know that whatever they throw against us, we will absorb and we will come out victorious. Because the powers arrayed against us, including their allies in Western world and the Middle East, is quite formidable. We can't beat those powers acting as separate nationalist movement. So I will appeal to you, if you can, for now, to shelve the idea of Biafran independence and Oduduwa Republic and whatever. Let's fight for the emergence of Republic of Southern Nigeria. It is going to be a nation that will shake up the entire Africa. The first truly ideologically, technologically advanced African nation capable of challenging any nation in Europe. It is going to wreak a lot of havoc in the neo-colonial arrangement that has continued to prop up the Western world till today. So let's be very, very careful. We have the potential to liberate Africa. They know it. We know it. But let's not, in our haste, screw up. And this is a warning to Igbo. The decibel is very high on our end, while others are meeting and planning. The Igbos are talking, because there are many Igbo hotheads shooting from the hips. And so, by default, without meaning to, we're again trying to make this a Fulani versus Igbo confrontation. That's not what it is. That's not what it has to be. The rest of southern Nigeria has as much at stake in this. We need to make sure that at all times, our allies in the South, Middle Belt, and Southwest are working in lockstep with us. We can't go too fast, too far. We need to make sure that our allies are with us in this fight. And if we're able to do that, our victory will be certain. So let's invest in making sure that we build the trust among our allies, that we understand what's at stake, and that we do what we need to do to make sure that the struggles with which our fathers fought is not passed on to the next generation. We need to resolve the nationhood of Nigeria now, once and for all. Ndewonu.